So adding and subtracting rational numbers review. So let's go over the steps for adding and subtracting rational numbers. Make sure we have those committed to memory. You can write these down if you need to, and then we'll do a quick practice and review some of the station problems we were doing. First thing we always want to do when we're adding and subtracting rational numbers, convert any mixed numbers, like 3 and 1/4, to improper fractions. You always want to make that conversion. That also goes for multiplying and dividing, but that's something you want to be in the habit of doing. Always convert mixed numbers to improper fractions, and that's always going to be the first step. If it's already a fraction or an improper fraction, you can start working with it. Next, you're going to create common denominators if you do not have common denominators in your fractions. So in this one right here, I have 13/4 improper fraction plus 7/8. You notice right here, I do not have common denominators, so I need to create common denominators. And the best things to do in this particular scenario is you look at, and we create common denominators. What's a number that both of your denominators can go into? When I think of 4 and 8, 8 actually would work for both of these, because 8 goes into itself, and if it stays the same, your numerator stays as 7. If it changes, like the 4 goes into 8 2 times, so I would do the same thing at the top, times 2, and 13 times 2 is 26. Now I have common denominators. Now I can start working on these, and I put equals, but this is actually a plus sign right here. Step 3, add or subtract numerators, but leave the denominators as they are. So this is just like I worked out previously, 26/8 plus 7/8. So you just add the top numbers. You just add your numerators. 26 plus 7, I believe, gets you 33. So what I would get right here is 33, and then 8 just stays 33/8. And I have an improper fraction, so you always got to remember step 4 finally. You always want to remember this when you work with fractions. Turn your fraction answer into a mixed number, or simplify the fraction as needed. If needed is what that should say. If needed. Apologize for the typo. But in the case of this one right here, 33/8. If I have 33/8, the way we turn this into a mixed number, improper fraction, is we're going to say 33 inside. Top number always goes inside, and divide by the bottom number, the 8, the denominator. So 8 does not go into 3, but 8 does go into 33. And it goes in 4 times actually. If you got your 8s down, 8 times 4 is 32. And when you subtract, you're just going to get 1. We're done. We don't have anything else to bring down or divide, so I have my full answer. 4 and 1/8 is going to be the full answer to all this work that I just did. So following all the steps right here, convert mixed numbers to improper fractions, you need common denominators, add or subtract numerators, and then after that make sure your answer is in fraction, regular fraction form, or mixed numbers. Let's review this station. This was a station from the other day, and it has to do with this. So it says Nicholas has 5½ cups of flour. The recipe for a cake he is making calls for 3 3/4 cups of flour. And he also needs 8 cups of flour for a cookie recipe. How much more flour will Nicholas need to make the cake and cookies? So I got us a little extra space here. And this has to do with adding and subtracting mixed numbers or fractions, rational numbers. So look at what we have. We know Nicholas has 5½. So that's what he currently has right now, 5½ cups. The recipe for the cake calls for 3 3/4. And then he's also going to need 8 more cups plus 8 for this cookie recipe. So now this is the total he's going to need to do all his baking, but he only has that much. So the question is, how much more flour is he going to need? He's probably going to have to go to the store and get more so he can do all of this baking. So what we need to first figure out is what's the total right here. We're going to have to add this up. Got a mixed number and then just a whole number. And actually, this isn't as challenging as it looks, because if you ever just have a mixed number and you ever just have a whole number by itself, no fraction, you can actually just add these together. Like, what's 8 plus 3? 8 plus 3 is 11. And then you can just keep the 3/4 because we don't have anything to add that to or subtract that from. So basically now we have 11 3/4. That's the total he's going to need. We could have put 8 over 1. We could have turned 3 3/4 to an improper fraction, but we would have gotten the same answer. So now what we need to determine is we're trying to figure out how much more he needs, we are going to subtract. So we're going to say, okay, what is 11 3/4 minus the 5½ cups that he already has? So how much more would he need to get to create or complete these recipes? So we follow our steps. First step is neither of these are an improper fraction, so we'll need to convert them both to improper fractions to work with them. We're just doing regular subtraction of fractions here. So first one, 4 times 11 is 44, plus 3 is 47, and I'm going to put that over 4. We always keep the denominator. Keep my subtraction sign. Over here, 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11, and we'll keep that over this denominator, which is 2. I cannot subtract yet because I don't have common denominators. I need a common denominator. I have a 4 and a 2. So what could we use as a common denominator? What is the number that they both go into? There's a lot of them. We could use 8. We could use 12. But a real good one to use right now would be 4, because 4 goes into itself, as you see here, and 2 also goes into 4. So our first fraction, 47/4, is not going to change. It's going to stay the same because we didn't change the denominator. But our second fraction, 11/2, will change. We just changed the denominator. We changed it to a 4. So 2 times what is 4? 2 times 2. So whatever we do to the bottom, we got to do to the numerator, the top numbers. So 11 times 2 is going to give us 22. And now I have 47/4. 47/4, I'll rewrite this here. 47/4 minus, it's 22/4. Write this one in blue for you guys. I've got everything set up, and now I can just subtract. I now have common denominators. Let's subtract it. 47 minus 22, I believe, is 25. And I'm going to put that over 4. Do not subtract your denominators or add them. 25/4. Improper fraction needs to be turned into a mixed number, and then we probably have our answer. How do we do that? Well, 25 goes inside. Let me get us a little more space. 25 goes inside. And on the outside, we're going to put 4, and we're going to divide this thing. All right. 4 does not go into 2, but it goes into 25, I believe it's 6 times. 4 times 6 is 24. When we subtract, we get 1. We are all done. 6 1/4 should be our final answer right over here. And then I look at my multiple choice. Oh, it's right here, B. 6 1/4. So we followed all of our steps, addition of subtraction. Here's how it came up in the word problem. All right, I want you to try this one on your own. This is 6 3/4 plus 3 1/5 minus 5. Write it down. Start with these two right here. I know it looks like you got 3 things to add, but start with these two. Add those together, then whatever you get, subtract 5 from that. Make sure you turn to improper fractions. Make sure you get common denominators, and then simplify your answer or turn it into a mixed number. Go ahead. Y'all can pause it, and then you can see the solution. Go ahead. Okay, so hopefully you turn it into improper fractions. You got 27/4 plus 16/5 minus, I went ahead and put 5 over 1. We're just going to start here. We're going to add these two, but I need common denominators. Alright, so common denominators for all of these. What do 4 and 5 go into? What's a good number? The first one we'll get to will be 20. So we need to turn them into 20, kind of a high number. So we can do it though. 20 here, 20 there. We're adding. Okay, so what are we turning our numerators into? Well, 4 times what is going to be 20? I believe it's 4 times 5. So now I'm going to look and I'm going to say, okay, whatever I do to the top number, I need to do to the bottom number, which is 27. 27 times 5 should be 135. We'll get that right here. 135 plus, now let's do this one. 5 turned into 20. That means we multiplied it by 4. So let's do the same thing, the top number 16. 16 times 4 should be, anybody, 64? Okay. And now we can add this across. I need 135 plus 64 should be 199. And we just keep our denominators as 20. Now I don't need to turn it into a mixed number just yet because I still need to subtract my 5 over 1. So I have 199 20ths minus 5 over 1. Let me do it real quick. Okay, so I need a common denominator, need common denominators still. What do 20 and 1 go into? Well, 20 would work. So I'm going to keep this one, 199 minus. This needs to turn into a 20. 1 times 20 is 20. So we need to do the same thing to 5. 5 times 20 is going to be 100. And now we subtract. 199 minus 100 is 99 over 20. And then we need to turn this into, finally, the mixed number to get our answer. So I'm going to say 99 20ths right here is 99 divided by 20. So let's do this. 20 does not go into 9. 20 goes into 99 4 times. It's 80. I'm going to get 19. So here's what I have. 4 and 19 20ths. Final answer. Adding and subtracting rational numbers.